Hi everyone, this is Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm playing with the Art by Marlene April release for 2025. And I decided to take this collage book for a spin. I really loved this page. From the minute I opened the book, I knew I had to do something with this page. And so I decided to make myself a new little pencil bag, pencil case, whatever you want to call it. So I grabbed out a canvas pencil bag, and now I'm just going to fussy cut some of those flowers. So I've actually had this paper pad for a couple of months now before the release, so I could do some playing around. And this is one of my first projects. I did make another project, but I didn't film that one. So here we go. So I've just cut a couple of flowers. This one on the right, the big pink one on the right, really stood out to me. So I really wanted to use that one. And then I chose some of the yellowy ones as well. So everything's not quite so pink and flat. And then I'm just going to shuffle them around a little bit to make sure everything fits. And once I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to move them off my pencil case in the same order that they are now, kind of. And then I will work on the bag. So I'm going to use this texture stamp. Oh my goodness, it's so great. I've done some embossing with these, and I've done all sorts of things with this set, in particular this one with the letters on, and also the border is really cute. So I'm just going through with my archival ink. My ink pad is actually refilled with StazOn ink, but either will work as long as it's waterproof. And I'm just stamping it out randomly all over my bag. So this is just to add a little bit of texture, a little bit of interest in the background, and just to break up that white page. I find oftentimes I'm a little bit afraid of that white space, and then just going in with some stamping or stenciling or collage or whatever it is just helps break it up, and then I get into the flow of things. So I'm using gel medium to stick these flowers on, and I must admit I did struggle a bit, and that is purely because this collage pad has a heavier paper weight, so the paper is a little bit thicker than Marlene's usual collage papers. So I had to go in with my gel medium, and I did a layer over the top, and still some things lifted. So I went in with Marlene's glue and just kept gluing down as I went along. Now I'm grabbing the rest of that page, and I'm just looking at the colors that Marlene has in that background, and I could see some red. So I've got Ho Ho Ho, I've got Kissy, I took out a little bit of fuchsia, and white. There was quite a bit of white, and I also suspect that a lot of her colors were mixed with white to create just a little bit of a softer look. And now I'm just going around all of those flowers with the colors on my palette. I'm not washing my brush in between. I am wetting my brush in between a little bit just to help the paint flow, because obviously the paint just wants to sit on the canvas. It doesn't really want to move. So just by wetting, adding a little bit of water just makes it a little bit easier to work with. And as you can see, I'm just blending colors as I go, not really being pedantic about washing my brushes in between. I'm not worried about colors mixing. I was quite surprised, however, because I did think that I would have to wash between the fuchsia and the yellow, because fuchsia is more of a purple color, and if you add purple and yellow together, it does make a brown color. But I was surprised at how well the two of them actually did blend together here and there. I was obviously still a little bit careful with blending them, but it actually turned out really well. And I also discovered that fuchsia blended with white makes a really pretty pink color. So I will definitely keep that one in my mind and definitely be using that as I go along one day again. Where the pink and the orange, the pink and the yellow blends, they make a beautiful little orange color. And yeah, I really liked the way that this background turned out. I was quite surprised. Okay, once I've got that done, I'm just going to go in with a little bit of mark making. So basically I'm looking at where the yellow ends, and then I'm just extending out with a little bit of bright yellow. And then I'm doing the same with the fuchsia. And I think I went in with white as well. I'm not sure if I went in now or no, I did go in now. Just with a little bit of white. And I'm just really trying to use up the paint on my palette. And where it's not a very thick application of white, I'm not too bothered about that. Even if it blends a little bit, it doesn't matter. So on that page, it had a little yellow bit with these red dots on, and so I thought I would add some red dots into the yellow part, and I quite like the way that it turned out. I like the graphic nature of that. You can see at the end there on the left, I've got a clip on the bag. That was just another bit that I had to glue down. Okay, now I'm just trying to copy the leaves that Marlene has on that paper. So I'm extending the ones that are there, and I'm also drawing a couple of new ones. And you'll see just how beautiful the turquoise and the pinks really pop against each other. It makes a beautiful contrast. The turquoise over the top of red is also magical. And then the little leaves, I'm just going to start blending in some color. So I've got the light blue, then I've got the light turquoise, and I'm blending it out with a little bit of a damp brush. And I'm going to make some mark making just by pushing my paintbrush down. And then I also noted that there was a little bit of purple in some of those leaves. So I'm putting just a little splash of it, and also darkening up the other leaves there. I really, really like how this came out. And now I'm going around the leaves. So initially I thought I'm going to stay away from black because I really, really like the colors on here. I could see some gray in the paper, but there was no black. So I'm trying to stay away from black. I'm outlining all my flowers with pinks and reds. And then eventually I also outlined the leaves with the gray color, the gray marker, but it didn't quite stand out. So, but before we get to that, I'm just doing the centers of the flowers, and I'm looking at the colors that are already there. I don't have to think about what colors I want to use in there. And I'm just boosting them with my paint pens and blending them here and there with either my finger or a damp paintbrush. And just that little outline really made the flowers pop from the background. And then this little stem, I didn't do anything with it yet, so I'm doing green paint pen with it. And I'm also extending that green into the flower, and there was another flower also that I put some green, so it's just not this random blob of green. I wanted for it to feel like it belongs there. So I'm going around the leaves with that grey paint pen, but yeah, it's not really showing up. So I made the decision to add a little bit of black, and I'm actually really glad that I did that. It just helped to pop things out from the background. So I'm only going along the stems of the flowers and the leaves. I'm not doing the flowers. And then here and there, just underneath the center of that flower, I'm darkening up that shadowy bit. And that really just helped everything to pop out. And I'm going to thoroughly dry this. So working on canvas takes a long time for things to dry, because obviously the paint and the water seeps right into the fiber of the canvas. And this will probably need to be left like overnight to dry completely. Lastly, I'm going over the whole thing with a really thick layer of gel medium just to make sure everything is sealed in. Obviously, this will never go into the wash. I don't even think I will do like a hand wash with it because I think those flowers will lift. But the beauty of making it once is that by the time this one is old and not so pretty anymore, I can just make another one. Okay, these quotes are absolutely delicious. I just love them. I love that they've got different shaped ones. I particularly love the circles and the ovals. Just makes me so happy. So what I chose to do is I chose the one that says always stay curious, and then I put a layer of UV resin in the front and the back, but I did poke a hole through it with my punch tool before I did that. And it just made this cute little three-dimensional plastic chip, I guess you could say. And I'm going to tie a little piece of lace, or I guess it's like a fabric border goodie. I don't know. It's got flowers and it matches my colors, so it's perfect. I couldn't tie it around properly by making a knot in that, so I just used some colorful string. And then I added my little chip there. That's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. Have you seen the release? Are you getting some of the release? Tell me which is your favorite product. And remember to like and subscribe. I will chat to you again soon. Bye.